Hey guys, what's going on? It's your man Boris with Texas Basketball Scouts, and welcome to this week's episode of The Weekend Recap. Today I'll be talking about one of the games that I saw. It was kind of a light week. Last week on Friday, I was able to catch the Clark versus Marshall game, see a couple of players that I like to see. It's always cool whenever I go and cover a game, and there's players on both teams that I kind of like to follow. So on Friday, December the 15th, is when Clark played against Marshall. Clark did win that game. Final score was 62-39. Clark has a real strong team. Marshall will try to put up a fight. They have Marshall has like two main players that kind of help them kind of run the show. I would say number one is Eric Goodman. He's a 6'1" senior over at Marshall. And then they also have a freshman over at Marshall named Jason Vidari, and he's running the point for Marshall. So those two kind of run the show over there, but it wasn't enough manpower to stand up against Clark. Clark just put it on him heavy. Again, final score 62-39. For those of you who don't know, Clark has a pretty deep roster. They have Aiden Bolden. He's a 6'2" senior. Jaden Flemings. He's a 6'1" sophomore. Jaden is a very explosive player. He's a sophomore, but he plays like he's got more maturity than that for sure. And then Christian Bergen, he's just one heck of an athlete for Clark. He stands at 6'4". Usually gets a couple of dunks every game. Real athletic. So that's pretty much that. Oh, and then going back to Marshall, I forgot to mention one player that kind of caught my attention on Marshall. Colt Johnson, number 32. He stands at like 6'4". He's a sophomore. He's stood out. He's one of the bigs over there at Marshall, and would probably like to see him get a little bit more active, on the stat board. But he did have good size in there, so I just wanted to mention him. On that note, if you haven't seen already, go ahead and visit the website tbscouts.com. And if you haven't seen, I've already published a list of the top players in San Antonio. So what I did is basically just looking at all the schools, all the players, and these are all players that I think have made the cut, to make my player watch list. So if you go to tbscouts.com, you'll find the 2023-2024 San Antonio player watch list. And that is the reason why I call it the 2023-2024 is because it's for the 2023 and 2024 basketball season. It includes players from all classes in that, but this is just the player watch list for this season, this basketball season, 2023 to 2024. So I look at that list every day. I revise it, update it with new players that I discover. And sometimes, I don't know every single player in the city. So if there are some hidden gems out there, some good players that I don't know about, by all means, feel free to send me a DM or send me an email with their information so I can take a look at them and see if they can, make the cut to be added to the list. On that list, that player watch list, the players are listed. They're not in any particular order. It's not necessarily like a rankings list. It's just saying these are a watch list of players that I think deserve some attention to help make it easy for college coaches. So college coaches can go to my website. They can go to that post for the 2023-2024 player watch list, and they can basically get the names of all the top players in San Antonio. This is something that I'm doing just to kind of give back and make it easy for the coaches and also help the players with exposure, because that's what I do at Texas Basketball Scouts. That's what we're all about, helping players get exposure so that they can hopefully get recruited, hopefully get a scholarship, and hopefully get their college paid for. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode of the weekend recap. Like I said, it was kind of a short episode. There was just one game that I went and covered, which was Clark versus Marshall. As far as the upcoming schedule for Clark, they have a game actually tomorrow, which is going to be December 19th. They're playing against Lee, and it's going to be at Littleton Gym. So looking forward to that game tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Looking back on Max Preps, and some of y'all may have seen, if you're not familiar with Max Preps, it's like a free website that all the schools have access to, and it's a great resource for college coaches, scouts, and evaluators. So go to maxpreps.com and look up your school right now and look up yourself on the roster and see if that information is correct, because as I was going through making my list and doing my research, I was looking at these different Max Preps, and we have some high schools here in San Antonio where their Max Preps profiles has like players from like last year and the year before, and like their roster is like 20, 30, 40 players deep. So coaches, high school coaches, please, if you have a Max Preps, which everyone does, please make sure that Max Preps is updated with the correct player information, height, weight, class. And I'm asking the coaches because, as a high school coach, I think, there's two platforms you should be on top of if you're a high school coach: Max Preps and Huddle. Those are free resources for video and stats for every player on the team. So, high school coaches, and don't get mad at me, I'm not like trying to ruffle no feathers or nothing, but I think high school coaches need to take a little bit more accountability with utilizing those free resources: Max Preps and Huddle. Huddle gives you free game film. You can record every single game for free. And if you need help editing that Huddle footage or anything, contact me and I'll help you edit that footage. But the school records every game for free, so you guys should have that game film. So make sure you guys use Huddle. Make sure you can log in with your information. And then the second platform is Max Preps. Max Preps has all the schedules. It has the rankings, like for like the records and stuff, which I'm actually going to go over some of that Max Preps records right now for Clark. But you guys can see how these platforms are important, and it amazes me still. Here we are in the year 2023, and there's still players that like don't go in there and update that information. Now, on this same note, I know that I said it's the high school coach's responsibility, but also I understand that they can get busy. So if you are a parent, why don't you volunteer to help out the team and take the initiative to, maybe help out with the Max Preps or the Huddle site and update it with stats and numbers. So, basketball takes a village to raise, a player. So if you parents are sitting back and seeing that nothing is happening with your Max Preps and Huddle, well, maybe you should take the initiative and go talk to the coach, and maybe you should volunteer to do that. But some schools are really good, like Bernie Champion. There's another school that I saw. Bernie Champion's Max Preps profile looked good. They have player photos that are all in uniform and up to date. Like you see schools like Bernie Champion where they like take full advantage of those sites. And then I see other schools, I don't want to call any of them out, but there is one I'm thinking about, and the coach is a buddy of mine, and his Max Preps profile looks ridiculous. So just fix it, please. It makes it easier for the kids and coaches, and that's a way for them to help get some exposure and some recruitment. But I'm going to get off my soapbox for that, but it is important, By all means, people, I go out and cover games, record games, make highlights. You can call me and book me to come cover a game and make some highlights for your son. But keep in mind, the school does have free resources. Their video is not going to be as good as quality as mine, but they do at least record the games. So for anybody out there, if you do have recorded game film and you just need somebody to edit it, because I can help that way too, quick tip. If all you got to do, if you have game footage, just upload it to YouTube, the full game film, and then just send me an email with the link to the YouTube film, and I'll be able to pull it and make some highlights for you. So just call me. If you have any questions, just give me a call. All right. So getting off my Max Preps soapbox, I wanted to go back and just look at some of the updates for Clark High School. And according to Max Preps, currently in district, they are 2-0, which puts them in second place in district for district play. They've played more than 2 games, but this is just for district play. And looking at some of the teams that are in district with Clark are Lee, who they play tomorrow, Johnson, Brandeis, Madison, Churchill, Reagan, Marshall, and Roosevelt. So those are all some pretty good teams. Looks like Lee is 2-0. Johnson is 1-0. Brandeis is 1-1. Madison 1-1. Churchill 1-1. It says Reagan 0-1 for district play, which I wonder who they lost to. Marshall's 0-2 for district. And then Roosevelt is also 0-2. As I'm looking through these names, there's a couple of schools that I probably need to revisit to add players to the watch list for, like Churchill. I don't think I've added any Churchill players to the watch list, but that's also because I don't really know that many players from Churchill yet. Maybe y'all should reach out to me. You know, it's a two-way street. I don't know every single player, so if there are some good players out there at the different schools, take the initiative and call me or send me an email and let me know about the players. So I can check them out myself and then give my evaluation. And if they meet the cut, then I can add them to the list. But just wanted to wrap that up for those numbers. That's going to basically go ahead and wrap up this episode of the weekend recap. I always like to say that these episodes, or this episode in particular, is sponsored by myself on behalf of my real estate business with eXp Realty. So as a quick side note, if you ever need a hand with a real estate transaction, whether you're buying or selling a home or anything like that, feel free to give me a call. I'll be happy. I am a licensed realtor here in Texas. But as always, for all my basketball fans, thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for next week's episode, and let's see how these games go this week. Thanks. Peace.